The Conjuring, one of the most terrifying films in cinema history. But this story is not merely the product of a screenwriter's imagination. In the early 1970s, a real-life paranormal case in a quiet corner of America inspired one of Hollywood's creepiest productions. The script was woven not only with horror elements, but also with details taken from actual accounts. Behind the scenes of the moments that pinned audiences to their seats in theaters were chilling memories that people claimed had truly happened. In this video, we'll explore both what we saw on screen and the reality behind it, from the unfolding events and the characters to the behind-the-scenes rumors and the film's cultural impact. If you're ready, let's dive deep into the most famous story in horror cinema. Ed Warren developed a fascination for the paranormal from a young age. Although he had no formal education in the field, he became one of America's most well-known paranormal investigators, specializing in demonology. His wife, Lorraine Warren, was renowned for her clairvoyant abilities, claiming to see what others could not, and to sense the presence of spirits. Together, they formed an investigative team that examined hundreds of paranormal cases throughout the 20th century. Among these were the Amityville murders, the Enfield poltergeist, and the infamous Annabelle doll. But in the 1970s, the Harrisville farmhouse case in Rhode Island would become one of their most terrifying. The Warrens not only investigated this case, but also documented the events for future generations. This case cemented their names in the annals of horror history. In 1971, Carolyn and Roger Perron moved into a historic farmhouse with their 5 daughters. The house dated back to the 18th century and had a dark history hidden within its walls. From the very first day, the family began experiencing strange occurrences. Doors opened and closed on their own, objects went missing, and whispers echoed through the rooms at night. The children sometimes reported seeing shadows in the corners of their rooms. The house seemed to possess both physical and spiritual unrest. Carolyn often felt a sense of unexplained fear in certain parts of the house. Over time, the family began recording and sharing these strange experiences with each other. They quickly realized that these events were not normal and decided to call for help. This call marked the beginning of a terrifying adventure for the Warrens. According to the Warrens' investigation, the house's former resident, Bathsheba Sherman, was a woman in the 19th century accused of devil worship. Legend says she sacrificed her infant and then hanged herself from a tree. It was believed that she cursed the house, and the Perron family became her next target. Carolyn often felt an unseen presence watching her at night. Objects moved on their own, there were knocking sounds from the walls, and strange noises frightened the family. The children also experienced frightening moments in their rooms. The atmosphere in the house grew increasingly tense. Sometimes the entire family had to gather in the living room for safety. The effects of the alleged curse were felt both physically and spiritually. When the Warrens arrived, they conducted a thorough investigation to determine if Bathsheba's spirit was truly present. The paranormal activity in the house became increasingly terrifying. Objects floated, foul odors spread, and family members were pushed and pulled by an unseen force. Carolyn sometimes felt as if she were being slowly lifted into the air. The children described invisible entities entering their rooms at night. All these strange occurrences began to affect the family's psychological well-being. Sleeplessness, fear, and stress became daily companions. When the Warrens arrived, they observed and documented the events, but the energy inside the house was so intense and disturbing that it was almost indescribable. The paranormal incidents affected not only the physical space, but also the emotional and spiritual states of the family. Some of Carolyn's experiences even left the Warrens deeply unsettled. During the filming of The Conjuring, even the cast and crew claimed to have experienced strange events. Phones suddenly stopped working, unexplained fires occurred outside the set, and in some scenes noises were heard with no identifiable source. Some crew members believed these events were caused by the spirit of Bathsheba Sherman. Actors, especially when working alone on eerie scenes, reported feeling watched by an invisible presence. Certain cameras malfunctioned, and footage captured lights flickering on their own. The production team took extra precautions to document and monitor these events. Some scenes had to be reshot multiple times because the cast was too affected by the occurrences. These behind-the-scenes stories reinforced the connection between the film and the real paranormal case, keeping the team on edge throughout filming. The Warrens performed a type of exorcism on Carolyn. However, the process became extremely dangerous, with the energy in the house intensifying both physically and spiritually. At times, family members felt helpless and tried to flee from rooms. While the Warrens continued the ritual, the paranormal forces grew stronger. Objects flew through the air, and cold drafts swept through the rooms. Some of Carolyn's experiences were traumatic even for young children. Throughout this terrifying period, the Perron family stayed close and tried to maintain daily life. They lived in the house until 1980, but the fear never completely faded. This case became one of the most dangerous and unforgettable experiences for the Warrens. The Perron case not only inspired the Conjuring film, but also laid the foundation for what is known as the Conjuring universe. Annabelle, The Nun, and other horror films were born from this universe. Each film incorporates elements inspired by real events or the Warrens' investigations. Every character and setting in this universe aims to impact audiences both cinematically and psychologically. The Perron case became a benchmark for horror enthusiasts worldwide, combining fear with intrigue. The films blur the line between real events and fiction, constantly prompting viewers to question what is real. The popularity of this universe has increased interest in the horror genre and provided inspiration for future films. The Conjuring is more than a horror film. It is a cinematic reflection of humanity's fear of the unknown. The true story behind the film remains controversial, and some details are still uncertain. As the Perron family shared their experiences, audiences were both terrified and intrigued. Some viewers criticized translating real events to the big screen, while others believe it added a unique depth to the horror genre. The impact of the film goes beyond box office success. It became a cultural phenomenon and increased interest in paranormal investigations. Do you believe these events really happened? Let's discuss and share your theories in the comments.